The following is an excerpt from Flashback, Fitz's short story. So, you and Sophie looked cozy. Bianna's voice had a sing-songy quality, because she always took her job as annoying little sister seriously. That goodbye hug was super adorable. Does that mean you guys are finally out of denial land? Fitz scowled, wondering if he was too big of a jerk move to trip Bianna with his crutches. The path they were on was mostly grass, so it wouldn't hurt that much if she fell. Bianna stepped in front of him, studying his expression before she rolled her eyes. You really didn't tell her? Even with all that alone time in the healing center. I mean, I know it's not the most romantic place or anything, but seriously, Fitz interrupted, this is what you want to talk about right now? Why not? We've got time to kill. She pointed to Everglen's glowing gates, which still hadn't opened for them. All the security changes for tonight makes getting in and out take forever. So come on, Fitz, explain it to me, because I seriously don't get it. Why were you so afraid to tell Sophie you like her? I'm not afraid, it's just not the right time. That's what you always say. But I figured since you guys both just almost died, that might motivate you to not take anything for granted, you know? Like how you finally realized you liked Sophie after that Arthropleura nearly killed you? Fitz sighed. I know, but it's complicated, okay? So can we please not talk about it? Bianna rolled her eyes. Fine. What do you want to talk about, Alvar? The name was a total punch to the heart, and Fitz had to shift his weight onto his good leg so he could let go one of his crutches and rub his chest. This echo thing was really becoming a problem. In fact, I need you to do me a favor tonight, he told Bianna. When they bring Alvar in, I need you to kick me or elbow me or whatever. Just keep me distracted, okay? I can do that, Bianna agreed. She watched him take several long, slow breaths before she asked, You'll be okay, right? As much as I can be. Yeah, Bianna mumbled. I know what you mean. The gates made a soft click, then swung slowly open, and Bianna helped Fitz get balanced on his crutches again. Thanks for coming home, she whispered. He gave her as much of a smile as he could. We're in this together, but let's go make sure Mom and Dad know our cooperation doesn't come free. You realize I'm going to call you Chandelier Head from now on, right? Bianna asked, from Fitz's bedroom doorway, grinning wider when Fitz gave her his evilest glare. I'd like to see you try levitating up the stairs, he muttered, rolling to his other side and pulling his blankets up to his neck. And thanks for all the help, by the way. It's good to know that if I'm ever trapped somewhere, I can count on you to roll around on the ground laughing. Bianna giggled. Fine, I promise. If the Neverseen ever tangle you in sparkly crystals and leave you dangling up high, I won't laugh until I rescue you. Then I'll crack up. Fitz gritted his teeth, reminding himself how lucky he was that Keefe hadn't been there. Or Sophie, though she wouldn't have teased him. But she probably would have thought he was a loser, because, seriously, who gets tangled in a chandelier and has to be rescued by gnomes? He needed to get better at levitating ASAP. So, Bianna said, her voice turning serious as she made her way closer. Think we're gonna regret the deal we just made? Probably. Fitz hadn't expected his parents to drive such a hard bargain. Bianna sighed and reached for his hand. It's going to be rough 10 days. It definitely was. But Alvar was back at Everglen, so most likely things would never be easy again. What are you smiling about? Bianna asked, peeking her head into Fitz's bedroom. You were just talking to Sophie, weren't you? Fitz gave her a look that hopefully said, none of your business. And honestly, Sophie wasn't the only reason he was smiling, though it had been awesome to finally hear her voice again. He hadn't realized how much he'd missed her. But he was also super proud of himself for figuring out how to transmit that far, especially past Sophie's ridiculously strong mental barriers. The distance between them made it extra hard to feel for that point of trust in her mind, but he just kept transmitting "it's me" over and over until he felt that familiar tug pull him through. That was all he ever had to say to convince her mind to trust him. The secret Sophie kept trying to persuade him to share. Just, it's me. He liked that way more than he'd ever admit. It was the first clue he'd ever had that maybe she... just tell her already, Bianna said, proving that empaths and telepaths had nothing on the power of a nosy sister. And don't tell me it's not the right time. Maybe it is the right time. Get some crush cuffs, take her somewhere pretty, and just blurt it. That's the worst thing I could do, Fitz interrupted. Why? Fitz shook his head. It's complicated. Bianna sighed. It's really not, but whatever. I don't want to be in the middle. Right. Fitz snorted. That's why you keep nagging me about it all the time. Not all the time. I'm mostly just bored right now, and it's way more fun to tease you about this than to listen to Mom go on and on about how Alvar seems so sweet and thoughtful and back to his old self. Fitz winced, reaching to rub the echo in his heart. I don't know why they don't realize he's still creepy. Me neither, Bianca admitted. I guess sometimes it's easier to see what you want to see, just like you keep doing with Sophie. Will you drop it already? I thought you didn't want to be in the middle. I don't, Bianca agreed, turning to walk away. But she spun back and asked quietly, It isn't about me, right? The reason you keep stalling? Fitz frowned. Why should it be? I don't know. She's my best friend. You're my brother. Maybe you'll think it'll be weird? Fitz shook his head. It's not about that, though I do seem to remember you going on and on about how your friends are off limits. Yeah, I used to think that would be the worst thing ever, but Sophie's different, and I might be breaching best friend code here, but I think you forget sometimes how adorably clueless she is about this stuff. She has no idea you like her, Fitz. Seriously. None. And anytime she starts to wonder, she talks herself out of it. So if you don't tell her, she's never going to figure it out on her own. She might even move on, and that'd be a shame, because you guys are perfect for each other. Fitz sighed, leaning back against his pillow and tightening his hold on Mr. Snuggles, which shouldn't remind him so much of Sophie, since it wasn't like she was the one who gave it to him. But he couldn't look at the sparkly red dragon without thinking of her. Just consider it, okay? Bianca pressed, I want you guys to be happy. So did he. Bianca left him alone after that, but he couldn't stop thinking about what she had said. Maybe she was right. Maybe it was time to say something. Ugh, do you just lurk outside my room all the time? Fitz asked the next night, when Bianca peeked her head through his doorway yet again. No, but when I see you sitting there with a huge dopey grin on your face, I'm going to stop to make fun of you, Bianca informed him. Plus, I want to hear how my best friend's doing, and I know you just talked to her. Anything I should be aware of? Not really, she's dealing with a bunch of complicated stuff, but what else is new? For real, but then, what's with the big goofy smile? Fitz chewed his lip, knowing this was going to cause a lot of squealing, but I told her. What? Seriously? He nodded, and yep, there was a whole lot of squealing. Before he could even blink, Bianca had sprinted across the room and plopped on his bed. So what did she say? He knew his face had to be redder than Mr. Snuggles, but he wasn't sure he cared as he told her. She said she trusts me too. Bianca's face crunched with confusion. That's not the right answer. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. If I told my crush I liked him and he said, I trust you, I'd be like, excuse me, what? Fitz frowned. Who's your crush? Psh, like I'd tell you that, and don't go changing the subject. Walk me through it. What exactly did you tell Sophie? Give it to me word for word. Fitz's face burned hotter, and he couldn't believe he was talking about all this with his sister, but he said, I told her she's the only person I can trust. Bianca blinked. That's it? She knew what I meant. No she didn't. This is Sophie, remember? Queen of adorable obliviousness. I guarantee you right now, the most she's thinking, the absolute most, is, what does that mean? But most likely she's thinking, if he trusts me so much, why won't he tell me how he feels about me? And if she isn't, she should be. Fitz shook his head. You don't know her as well as you think you do. No, Fitz, I do. Bianca flopped back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Wow, I never realized you were this clueless too. I'm not. You just keep forgetting that Sophie has major issues with matchmaking. I can't hand her crush cuffs and start talking about being hopeful because it'll feel like I'm trying to pressure her into registering. And that's not cool, so I'm trying to be careful, at least until she makes up her mind. And then once she tells me she's registering, which obviously she will, because no one volunteers to be a bad match, then I'll tell her everything. Bianca blew out of breath. Yeah, I guess. I just hope you don't wait too long. I'd hate matchmaking to pull you guys apart before you even start. It won't, Fitz promised. It's all going to work out. Bianca nodded, looking surprisingly sad as she stood up to leave. Just promise me something, okay? If some perfect moment comes up, even before the matchmaking thing is settled, you'll just forget about all of that and tell her. I don't think that's a perfect moment's gonna happen, Fitz argued. Maybe not, but if it does, Bianca insisted, just promise me. Fitz studied his sister for a long second. Okay, I promise. Now get out of my room. Bianca grinned. Good night, chandelier head.